Robbo says, with all the polls indicating the SNP is ahead and on target to get a clear majority at Holyrood, the question of coalition is just in the minds of we unionists. Never mind, you'll soon grow up to realise India is the only answer to Scotland's problems. And this one finally from Alan on YouTube says, when you see the SNP doing well in the polls and with no campaigning for independence done whatsoever, it makes me wonder, can you imagine what the polls would look like if the SNP were not pretending to want independence? And I just thought it was an interesting collection of comments because there's a clear sense, obviously it's not scientific, there's a clear sense that people are looking for something of an independent strategy, Geoff. And I do just wonder how Swinney, Forbes, the SNP, how they have to position themselves. What should they be more public with a strategy for independence? Because that was something of the undoing of Nicola Sturgeon, wasn't it? That her strategy didn't work and it was very loud and proud. So what does John Swinney need to do? How can he balance all of this?
Yeah, and it's something that we tried to tease out of both him and Kate Forbes during the podcast. Answer came there none in terms of revealing any potential strategy. But the point is that clearly, and by the comments that you've read out there, that there's a significant swathe of the population that's anxious for the SNP to come up with some sort of strategy. And there's obviously a significant swathe of the population that don't want them to do that. And that's John's balancing act that he has to try and navigate. Now, I don't think this was particularly relevant a few months ago because everyone was pricing in a Labour victory and therefore, independence is off the table. That has changed significantly. So, he needs to get the government to be more competent and viewed as more competent. I think he's starting to make inroads there, but to Andy's kind of long-standing point, are things getting better on the ground? And we can maybe come on to that in a second. That has to be a focus of this. I've always believed that if the party is viewed as competent, then yes, the people will give them another shot and crack at it. Secondly, they need to try and explain to the voters that within the decision of Nicola Sturgeon to put it to the UK Supreme Court, that was rebuffed. That is a big roadblock for John Swinney. So I wonder if they're going to use the 2026 election, perhaps not on the basis of having a referendum, but asking people if they should have the right to choose.